Native people, Native culture, Native knowledge. Hi, I'm Jeannie Green, bringing you award-winning Heartbeat Alaska.
Bringing you national and international Native news, this is award-winning Heartbeat Alaska, the premier Native voice in Native programming.
There's a heartbeat, louder than thunder, revolution is in the air. There's a heartbeat deep inside our mother. Are you too cool to
Now, with Heartbeat Alaska, here's Jeannie Green.
Hello everyone and welcome to Heartbeat Alaska Native News and Native Information. I'm Jeannie Green, thanking you once again for joining us. It's such a pleasure to be invited into your home. Heartbeat Alaska's Native News from a Native perspective. Today we travel to Haines, Alaska, a community in southeast Alaska, and look at their attempts to preserve their culture and also retain it. Don't go away. We'll travel to Haines in just a moment.
Suite Hotel, centrally located on the corner of 8th and C, providing great service with spacious two-room suites for about the price of one. Perfect for the business traveler, and the family will have fun too. The Clarion Suite Hotel, within walking distance of where you want to be, in the very heart of Anchorage. Simply more amenities, just the right touch to detail. Why stay anywhere else? The enchanting Clarion Suite Hotel, simply the best location in Anchorage.
Welcome back. Let's travel now to Haines, Alaska, a community in southeast Alaska dedicated to preserving their own culture and retaining their own culture.
They had to do an older one right here at number 8. A month ago, they had barnacles and stuff blowing all the way almost all the way to the top because you spend so much time in the water. The only time it's above the water is now when it's not water. It goes back up. Zero seven two.
Retaining one's culture, a noble effort among many Native Americans. On May 2nd, this past year in southeast Alaska, the natives had reason to celebrate. They celebrated the return of the Murrelet hat, a hat taken from them, originally carved in approximately 1740. It was carved by a Raven Indian from Wrangell, Alaska. It was an important part of the Bear Clan ceremonies. The return of the 250-year-old clan hat was made through cooperative efforts and negotiations of the Juneau Tlingit Haida Central Council, Chilkoot Indian Association, the National Park Service, many other organizations, including Kagwan Clan and many others.
Of the Chilkoot Kagwantan clan. I'm of the Eagle Moiety of the Chilkoot Brown Bear House. And I'm a council member on the Chilkoot Kagwantan Council. And in my hands here, I'm holding what is called the Murrelet Hat.
Former Bear Clan chief Sonny Aker found out about the hat in 1994 and pushed for its return until his death on February 17, 1998.
And the name came up, and one of the Tlingit and Haida staff members recognized the hat and called Sonny Albecker, who was our chief at that time, who has since passed away. They told Sonny where the hat was, and Sonny consulted with myself and some others and determined to get the hat back. And to the effort of the Tlingit and Haida Central Council, they negotiated having the hat returned to the clan. And on May the 27th of this year, we sent our leader, Larry Albecker, to the museum along with a raven witness to witness the transfer, which makes it an authentic return of the artifact. And they brought it home on May the 2nd is when we received it. And we are very glad to get the hat back. For me personally, it holds a lot of meaning because I was raised by the people that originally wore this hat. The caretaker, our last true cultural caretaker, was George Casco, and he had stewardship of this hat until he passed away. And it was then entrusted to my aunt Elizabeth David. And because in our culture, women's names can't be put on what I guess in the white man's terms would be called the highest treasured arts. So in the hat, I don't know if you can see, or you'll be able to see it or not, but there is a J.D., her husband's name was Jack David, and that's where they put it on. And Jack David was my mentor in teaching me our Tlingit ways and etc. like that. And in the historical, George Casco entrusted all our history to us. So this hat is very dear to me. And when we got it back, we wanted to share it with the rest of the world because we're so happy to have it back. And due to the relationship of the Sheldon family with us here in Chilkoot in the village, and they did care for our people and help them, that we just elected to bring it to the Sheldon Museum to share it with the general world. So we're most happy to have the hat back.
Historically, back in the 1700s when it was originally carved and used, what occasions or what events would the hat be worn?
The hat was used in our potlashes, and when there were marriages or the deaths, they always held a potlash, or even with the birth of children. And in dancing, then the hat would be used. This hat was not used just in the normal everyday dancing, which they did quite often. It was only on special occasions this hat was used, because the person that carved it was a special carver. So this hat was held in high esteem, just in the same category as our bear blanket, Chilkat blanket would be. And the eagle blanket is equal to that in value and treasure.
Who would wear the hat?
This hat would be worn by the leader. And I call him leader. We did not actually have chiefs. That came from the white man. And when the white people first came to the shores here, the way that we would have a leader temporarily was called a Nasha Dahani. When a problem arose, the clan members would look among themselves and select the person who was most experienced with that problem, and he was called a Nasha Dahani. So when the visitors and the outsiders came, they looked among themselves and selected a person who could best interact with these outsiders. And he was named the Nasha Dahani for that affair. But because of the long-term working with the outsiders, as in the South, decided to call this person a chief. And that's how that terminology arose. We had no such thing as a chief. It was a Nasha Dahani who was only there to take care of that problem. And that's how that came about. But there were the elder of greatest stature is the one that you would refer to as a chief or the leader. But it was actually the elder of the highest stature that wore this hat. And you had to earn your way up to earn the hat.
The Clarion Suite Hotel, centrally located on the corner of 8th and C, providing great service with spacious 2-room suites for about the price of one. Perfect for the business traveler, and the family will have fun too. The Clarion Suite Hotel, within walking distance of where you want to be, in the very heart of Anchorage. Simply more amenities, just the right touch to detail. Why stay anywhere else? The enchanting Clarion Suite Hotel, simply the best location in Anchorage.
The preservation of the local culture is very important to Southeast Alaska natives. Jim Heaton, though not Tlingit, helps to preserve the art. He teaches the art of totem pole carving, a skill he learned from studying the elders' photographs. In this day and age, much is made of bootlegging native art. But Jim Heaton, rather than stealing the art and passing it on as his own, prefers to explain it as a way of preserving the culture, a culture he knows well.
There's been a lot of work done in the past as far as just repainting them and everything, but that's not all that needs to be done in order to keep these poles in existence. You have to clean them and scrape the moss and lichens off and make sure they're mounted correctly. And one of the worst things you can do for a cedar pole is to just repaint it. And what's happened is fairly common throughout Southeast, is a lot of the poles are owned by the municipalities, and the municipalities send their maintenance workers to take care of these pieces of art, and they are trying to treat them like a foundation or a structure, and that's just not going to work. A good pole, probably without any treatment, can last 50 to 75 years outside fairly easily. But with the correct treatment, you can maybe double that lifespan. And what you're looking at is a major investment by the communities in these pieces, and then they're not maintaining them in a good manner. Traditionally, a pole was done for a specific reason. It was done to commemorate someone's life, as in a mortuary pole, if there was something real special. that was significant to the person that had died, then that would be recorded on a mortuary pole. Or a family pole was something that would be recording your family's history, such as the Clayton family pole records 4 generations of that family. And that was probably one of the more important types of poles. And today, when you're looking at old poles, you can't tell why they were done unless it's been documented. And most of the old poles weren't documented. You can look at it and say, oh, well, there's an eagle or a bear on it, but you don't have any idea of why. So it's important today to document the contemporary poles as much as possible, so that people 100 years from now will know what they meant, and hopefully will mean the same things to those people. Another type of pole was a story pole, and that would be kind of a notebook for that particular legend. And the legends and the stories themselves were personal or clan property. So the person who was the custodian of the story would be responsible for remembering it by knowing the story behind the pole. And then that person would pass that on to the next custodians. One thing that's been realized recently is that those stories and old legends were property, and by telling the story without permission, you're stealing from that family. So when I do a mask or something, I don't incorporate any of the old legends. Like a bear mask will be representing a bear, not the bear clan or not a particular story behind that animal. And it's more out of respect for the old traditions and the old stories. One example I use when I'm talking to people about it is it would be like if you went to the bookstore, bought a book, ripped the cover off, and put your own cover on. And it's exactly the same thing, just because if you did that, you would get sued by the author because of the legal problems. Even though that wouldn't happen with an old story, it's still the same thing. And that's something that is coming into realization now through a lot of artists are starting to pay attention to those traditions and those properties that even 10 years ago it wasn't uncommon to see a carving or a mask recounting a particular story. And today a lot of artists aren't doing that just because it's wrong. And basically, no artist should be doing that unless you go to research who owns that story and then ask their permission.
Thank you so much, everyone in Haines, Alaska, for your help on that story. We take a moment now for some Native American music, and I'll be back with more Heartbeat Alaska.
All the troubles of today will then be what's on my mind, 'cause Lord, you know my heart, and you know just what I'm feeling inside, 'cause Lord, you know my heart. Lord, you know me through and through. Ain't nothing I could hide from you. Lord, you know me better than I know myself, 'cause Lord, you know my heart. Lord, you searched me and you know everything about me. Lord, you know my heart. Oh, see if there be any wicked way in me, and Lord, you can change my heart. Lord, you know me through and through. Ain't nothing I could hide from you. Lord, you know me better than I know myself, 'cause Lord, you know my heart. Lord, you know me better than I know myself, 'cause Lord, you know my heart. Lord, you know my heart. Lord, you know my heart.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us for Heartbeat Alaska Native News and Native Information. If you have any news tips, please call us at 907-563-7440, and I'm looking for video from your village. Please start gathering the Heartbeat Alaska Christmas special Christmas greetings, won't you? It's time to get your camcorder out. And also, I'd like to get some video from villages across the state of Alaska featuring what you consider news, and we'll edit it into a story right here on Heartbeat Alaska. You can also help Heartbeat Alaska stay on the air by donating to our work. We're accepting Visa, MasterCard, and American Express donations now. It's tax refundable. We're a nonprofit agency. Keep us on the air, won't you? Give us a call and give your donation today. Heartbeat Alaska Native News just for you. We'll see you again next week. God bless you.